When you're shopping in the toy aisle, whether you're shopping for a child, a friend, or, well, most likely yourself, if you're on this channel, you're probably an adult collector. Well, you're excited to see what's out, and you've probably already been informed of what's available to buy because the toy company has made a very big effort to reveal this to you in some way, whether it's through a webcast or a convention or tons of ways that companies reach out. But most toys never get made. Most toys never make it beyond concept art. Sometimes that concept art is black and white, sometimes that concept art is colored, and hey, every once in a while that concept art does get mocked up into what looks like it could be a plastic toy, but is actually just a mold. A toy that's held together by pins and not actually a working toy. Other times, toys get fully tooled. The entire cost of developing the mold is spent, and the toy still never makes it to market. So why does this happen so much? Why are so many cool ideas left on the table? I mean, I would have loved to have had a build a Quinjet from Toy Biz for my Marvel Avengers. What's an Avenger? Avengers. I can't talk today. Or on the other side, from Hasbro, Toy Biz to Mattel, there was a whole line of bases for the DC figures that were never tooled up. In fact, there were entire figures designed for the DC line that were never tooled. For example, this Firefly figure that was originally going to come not just with a giant wingspan, but a whole chunk of Gotham City city tops. So why do these toys get developed, sculpted, designed? So much energy gets spent on toys when only about 40 to 60% of concepts that are worked on actually make it to market? Now, sometimes there's modifications, and sometimes this happens from a licensor who owns the IP that says, well, the toy can't look like this, it has to look like this for legal reasons or who knows why, and toys have to be modified. I'm not talking about that kind of thing. I'm talking about where a toy actually doesn't make it to market, but is developed almost all the way. And such was the case with this. This was the very first toy I actually got to design, and it never made it to market. This was part of the Hot Wheels Flip and Go line. So it was a line of Hot Wheels playsets. This was before I worked on action figures at Mattel. I was a copywriter on Hot Wheels for 2 years. I actually came up with the name Flip and Go and the name Meteor Mayhem. I got to name all the sets. That's what the copywriter does. And all of these sets were designed to fold up very small and with no assembly to instantly have an awesome play environment for cars. A lot of fun to work on. Now, I am an action figure guy. And one of my favorite characters is Batman, and Mattel at the time was working on Batman toys. They didn't have the master license, but they did have the license to Batman, in particular, the Batman cartoon. Now, it was no Batman the Animated Series, which is my preferred Batman show, but hey, I wasn't going to say no. And the thing about the guys who work on Hot Wheels, there's car guys and there's non-car guys. Or at least I should say the people who work on toys at Mattel. And I'm much more of the superhero guy than the car guy. But here I was working in the car guy group, or car girl. There were girls too, there were women, but it was mostly boys. Girls tend to work on girls' toys. It's like a junior high prom, like a junior high dance. Girls on one side, boys on the other. So I met up with an engineer in Hot Wheels, and we got to talking because he knew I was a sort of a comic book guy and a superhero guy, and he said, hey, we've been tasked to design a Hot Wheels Flip and Go set based on Batman. I don't know anything about Batman. I hear you know something about Batman. Could you help me design a set? And I was like, yeah, that's so cool. I would love to help design a set. So it had to obviously have certain requirements. It had to fit into the flip and go play pattern as well as price point and box, which meant it had to fold up. It had to be a set that told a continuous story, but it could also collapse. And it had to have sort of Hot Wheels action mechanisms built in. So I looked at a lot of different Hot Wheels sets to see what type of mechanisms worked, and I was tasked by this designer to come up with a way to take the Hot Wheels play pattern and kind of lay a Batman theme on top of that. And boy, was I excited. All right, so let me show you how this works here. I did keep the only working model because, well, I was so excited that I got to work on this, so I had it signed out after it didn't make it to market and it was just sitting around. So you can see here all the pieces flip up so that it works for the whole flip and go segment. You do have some cardboard cut out in the back for the city environment, but otherwise it's all made of plastic. And every part has to essentially, well, push into itself as that was part of the segment, the flip and go look. So we had to find, so it had to both be a Hot Wheels set, fold up, and be themed Batman and tell a story. So, yeah. All right, so let me show you how it works. I don't actually have a Batmobile with me, so I went to Target and bought this one. All right, it's not actually the this is the Arkham Asylum video game Batmobile, but hey, it works. All right, so it basically starts on the top, it rolls down and smashes into Arkham Asylum. But there's a lot more to it than that. As I said, the idea was to lay a Batman theme onto a Hot Wheels play pattern. So you can see here, there is a track diverter. And the idea is that if you hit the little button, it will then divert the car into Arkham Asylum here, and then a Joker figure would be on top of that green platform, and then when you hit the green trigger like that, boom, he falls in. I didn't actually have a Joker, so I used a Porg figure, but you get the point. So the little mini Joker would then fall and be captured inside Arkham Asylum through this little gate here, and then you could open up the front to get him out. So I'll throw the little Porg in again. Bye-bye, Porg. Okay, so yeah, so that was meant to capture the Joker. And so this was the perfect way of incorporating a Batman story into a Hot Wheels play pattern. And you would start the car off, again, with flipping it up. It goes with the whole flip and go play pattern, so you just push it up like that, and the car goes down the ramp. And ideally enough gravity, although the set's now getting old because it's been sitting around for a couple of years, so it's not exactly in the best working condition. Plus this was a prototype, not a final toy. But ideally you push it up, car goes down, and then it either goes into the Batcave, or if it hits the little trigger, then it will smash into Arkham Asylum, hit that little green button on the side, which causes the Joker figure to then fall into the prison. So he would be on top of the trapdoor there, which no longer holds up because, again, it's old. So I was so proud of this. It was such a huge honor to actually get to work with a designer and use my knowledge of nerddom and comics and Batman to help take that and lay it over a Hot Wheels concept to create a set that fulfilled all of the needs. It fulfilled management's need for a standard Hot Wheels play pattern, but that would work for the Batman world and would incorporate Batman storytelling into the set. Well, unfortunately, like a lot of things that get developed, this did not make it to market. And toys that don't make it to market are a lot like deleted scenes. It's like, you ever read, the kid stays in the picture. And if you've ever seen a still image or a deleted scene from a movie you love, it's like looking at something that's not quite right. You're like, wait a minute, I love this movie. I know every shot of this movie, but I don't remember that image. That's kind of what deleted toys are like. And this happens so much, and so much work gets put into toys that never make it to market for one reason or another. A perfect example of that is the Voltron Force figures that were shown at San Diego Comic-Con back in, was this 2011, 2012? Mattel showed off an entire line of kid-aimed product from this new animated series. Now, there was collector product for classic Voltron that was actually sold online through Matty Collector that I kind of worked on. I'll put a link to the video at the end of this so you can see that. And this did make it to market, but all of the work that went into the retail line, while it was shown off, it was developed, and it was brought all the way to toolette, which is the stage right before you cut that giant check for the tooling. But because the show didn't perform, retailers backed off, and it never made it to market. And that's the biggest reason, is sales. If retail doesn't see sales potential, or they have the product on shelf and it doesn't meet sales expectations and the velocity they require, which means the number of units sold per day, per week, etc., the other big reason toys don't make it to market is office politics, and that's what happened with this Batman toy. So I'd put a lot of hard work into coming up with a way for the Hot Wheels play pattern to work with a Batman storyline, racing through Gotham and crashing into Arkham to capture the Joker. Well, this toy didn't just not make it because of sales, it was actually deliberately torpedoed, if you will. And this happens a lot with toys. Someone in management from one group or another just doesn't like the way the toy is being developed. In this case, because I wasn't an engineer and I had worked on this, well, the VP of design, who will remain nameless for this video because I never like to bash on anyone, but yeah, he just was like, wait, this was designed by a copywriter? We're not doing this. We need an engineer who knows what he's doing. So it got thrown out purely because my title didn't match the end results or what I did. So the next time you're in a toy aisle and you're picking something up, again, whether for yourself or a child, just remember you're picking up about 50% of what actually, what makes it to market. The other 50% of the work done in the toy industry just never shows up for one reason or another. Sales, office politics, losing a license, it could be anything, but a lot of work goes in the toy industry that you never see. What toys have you seen previewed that never actually made it to market? Anything that's been a dream figure you've been waiting for? Let me know in the comments below. I always read them and I try to comment back as much as I can. Thanks for watching and sharing. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.